Welcome to Future Sense Now, where we explore the landscape and byways of our shared futures. An e-zine of the Futures Forum live online. We exchange ideas, information, and inspiration about the futures we want. Get Future Sense Now with host Dr. Claire Nelson, futurist and editor of Human Futures.
Greetings and welcome to Future Sense Now, an online e-magazine of the Futures Forum. It is April 2020 and around the world there's been a lot of, I would say, human drama with the global pandemic, but life goes on, and so we have celebrated UN Day for Creativity and Innovation. We're going to be celebrating also Earth Day. And the Girls in ICT Day is actually usually the last Thursday of every month. As I said earlier this year, we commemorate in a very challenging time globally, and we really want to explore the role of ICT in this time, especially. Normally I kind of, it's a small day, nobody cares, but this year, ICT is first and foremost on people's minds, because we're now living through and by the power of information communication technologies, ICTs. So I'm going to do this dialogue with a group of women from around the world who are actually working to shape a future in which girls and women can participate more equally in this world. We want to look out at the year 2030, despite the immediate challenges of today, because it is my belief that today, even more than ever, we need a shared vision of our common aspirations as a human family. And I do believe that the SDGs, as defined in the UN Agenda 2030, with its 17 global goals, does provide us that asset. We know that in particular, the gender equality goal is the one with 5, but ICT is actually being considered like a human right. And especially now when we need it for communication, for healthcare, for banking, for education. And so we certainly should address them. How will half of the world's populations, and women and girls, and particularly girls, what can we do to help ensure we address the gaps that exist now, so that in the future we will have less of a dilemma in providing the things we need, should there be any more additional global challenges such as pandemics. So in this episode, I'll be speaking to Samira Chattun Koyratty, and she's CEO of something called the Safe Shot Training Center, Beach and Sportswear. There you go, Beach and Sportswear. She is a graduate student from the University Putra, Malaysia, and she is from the beautiful island state or island nation of Mauritius. She actually comes with an extensive background in product development and has played a variety of roles. But her role today, and the reason why we're speaking to her, is because of her work in promoting and pushing women in business and women in technology, and through this, pushing the agenda of girls in ICT. She has won numerous awards from the World Innovation Congress. She's been in the most influential woman in Mauritius. She has been the most influential woman in Mauritius Hall of Fame. She's been involved in the Pan-African Awards, Outstanding Young Person Award, Woman of Wonder Award. I mean, the list goes on. There are too many to mention. But I have to say again, the reason why we're speaking to her today is because of her role as a chapter lead in Mauritius for Women in Tech Africa. Yes, believe it or not, people, there is a Woman in Tech Africa. African women are not sitting around waiting with their hands out to be begging people for anything. And in this capacity, I'm delighted to be joined and to be speaking to, I would say, my new friend, Samira Chattun Koyratty. Good morning, good evening, greetings, because we're in different time zones and because we're halfway around the world from each other. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, Claire. First of all, I want
Absolutely.
thank you for this opportunity. You know, we are very fortunate, and in this unprecedented time, actually, to be able to share information, to use the video conference, and to be able to talk with new friends, families, and even our students. But I just want to share this, that I just want to express my sympathy to those who have left us because of this pandemic, and stressing to every that need to respect the confinement wherever they are to fight back against it. So we shouldn't forget these people, you know. But despite that, life must goes on.
Yes.
We need to continue working. So we are very thankful that we have a great tool to share with the people around the world what is happening. And as you mentioned earlier, we are in an island here in Mauritius. It doesn't mean that the pandemic doesn't touch us. It does, but not to that extent. But we have at least a good government that is helping us to at least guide us how to not to, you know, to go in that extent like you people in USA facing it.
Yes.
We had
I
deaths
want to
as
talk
well.
about that a bit. I want, because you jumped right in. So I want to talk about this idea of ICT, the pandemic, and human rights.
Yeah.
We've been pre-COVID, right? We were kind of moseying along gently, taking our time to get there, and we certainly were focusing on ICT. There was beginning of a conversation on ICT as a human right, right? But now, as you think about this, from your vantage point as a small business owner, I'm presuming, I'm not sure how large your business is, but I'm assuming it's a small business and you are training people. From your vantage point, how important was your preparation as somebody pushing women and girls in ICT for the pivot that the island of Mauritius has had to do? How have girls and women in the workplace been adjusting to the world where now ICT is a need?
I think for the case of Mauritius, is the same as everywhere in the world. So, but we are trying our best, you know, as a women in tech organization, like myself, the training center, which is mainly focused into IT training. So we try to get the girls in ICT to give them the best support, you know. So how we do that is, and we are still doing it, is to they need the support from positive role models. And I think this is the best powerful tool that would eliminate the gender stereotypes that we have. And we shouldn't forget also about mentors. Mentors is very important. And success stories of women related in ICTs and women in STEM that can really help more girls in ICT. So from my point of view here in Mauritius, I'm very thankful that we have organizations, we have government support, we have political commitment as well to encourage and to enforce those girls to use the ICT and be in the ICT sector.
Let me ask you a question so kind of help me see the picture more clearly. First of all, are most of your schools co-ed schools, or are the girls going to school separately from boys? That's the first question I want to have a sense of.
We have both, actually. We have both. So you have actually here.
But let's say the most. So let's say, tell me about the more, let's say, elite schools where the girls who one expect will do well and become leaders versus the poorer schools. How does that work?
Actually, we don't have that much of difference because here education is free in Mauritius. So everybody has, every child has to be at school at a certain age. So whether it's going to be the primary level, the secondary levels, tertiary level, so you need to have students there. So we can't allow it. So that's why I say we have a very supportive government here. So the education is very important here. And talking about the lead school, so we do have lead schools for students, for girls. We do have lead school for boys. And we are for the previous years, we've been working with girls in different schools, lead schools with different subjects, science, mathematics, you have IT, you have all in the same school. And then you have those students that would go to the university level, where from there as well, you do have the University of Mauritius, where you have the IT department, the IT field, and you have specialized university for IT as well.
Ah.
So we do have a great support, like I say. So if we need to compare us from the rest of the world, I think we're pretty lucky, you know, to have the free education. And not later than 2 years back, the government also gave a free education for university students as well.
Oh, I was about to ask you a question. So you have to have free education up to university. So
Yeah, exactly.
Mauritius has how many people exactly?
So we are around 1.2 something million.
Okay, and if you could help me situate Mauritius in my mind.
Okay, so Mauritius, we are in the Indian Ocean, just south of India and east of Africa.
So you fall into two camps then. So sometimes are you, let's say, with the Asian group, or are you mostly concerned part of Africa? How political, where do you fall?
No, we are more concerned with Africa. So sometimes people say we are from the African countries. So we form part of the African countries.
Okay, gotcha. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. So to come back to this thing, you have university up to free education up to university. And so I think that's a very good thing in terms of, first of all, building the first gap, because there's no need to say for people to say, I can't afford it, I don't know anybody doing it. And that's, I'm just stunned that you have education free to university. Now, in terms of the marketplace, obviously being an island, you know, I'm from an island of Jamaica, you're gonna need, you know, communications for everything. What is the capacity or the standard in terms of access to data? Is it something that's affordable? Is it considered something to be a privilege? How do girls at home, it's one thing to have it in the schools, but when they go home, are they also able to afford access to ICT so that they can continue independent work? And especially now, what is happening?
Okay, so like this also, I would say that at least in one house of the island, we have internet access. So whether it's on your phone, or you have your tablet, or you have your desktop, so you have internet access as well. And now we are talking about the pandemic. So the government, the Ministry of Education, working with the Ministry of Technology here, so we make sure that we've upgraded the limit of the internet access to every house. Okay, so
well, let me have, you're saying that the government is providing internet access in every house?
Yeah, so in almost every house, we have the internet access. So that's why I say we are pretty lucky here. We have such the support of our government, you see. And so even the small entrepreneurs, I will talk about entrepreneurs. We have entrepreneurs in IT. So we have the facility to apply for, let's say, for the internet capacity with a certain level of capacity that we can use for our business. And we have an operator as well. We have different internet operator here in Mauritius. We have different operators. So one of them also give you access for mobile internet. So which means you can, even if you're not at home, you have your pen drive, you have your dongle, everywhere you can use the internet. So even if you're on the road, you're in the train, you're in the bus, so you can have the internet.
Wow.
So I don't know if
I'm like, are you saying that the government ensures that you're able to afford it? So even if, let's say, you're poor and you can't necessarily pay the full cost, you can apply for a subsidized grant. And the government then, based on how much you earn, the government will say, okay, you can have, we will give you up to 5 hours or whatever. At least at some point you have something.
Yeah, exactly. This is how we are here in Mauritius. So so you see, we've understood that first, education is important. Second, the entrepreneurs is important for an island, for a country, because for me, the entrepreneurs is actually the backbone of the economy for each of the countries. So you need to see in the eyes, from the eyes of the entrepreneurs, what they need, what the support they need. And education comes with that. So that's why we've been putting emphasis on, to give them the maximum facilities, and those who need to pay, to give them the access to have a good price. Even if they need to take the loan, just give them a good rebate on the loan. So the interest also should be very affordable for them to pay.
Wow.
So we can say that all over the island, we do have internet in each house. And I don't see why our girls, our young education, our young generation couldn't, let's say they won't have access to ICT.
So practically speaking, you really are ahead of certainly the United States in ensuring that there's no digital divide for people who are not able to pay and afford it. Are you on a lockdown there now in Mauritius? Are you still having business as usual? What's the current status right now?
We are in complete lockdown actually. Since the 19th of March, we are in complete lockdown until the 4th of May.
Okay.
So when it says complete lockdown, it's a complete lockdown, which means you cannot go out. And as from, I think it was 2 weeks after the 19th of March, it's a curfew now. So you are not allowed to go anywhere unless you have a work permit access.
Wow. So having said that, how has the education in terms of ICT been? Because certainly I'm interested from the point of view of the Small Island Development States agenda, which is something very near and dear to my heart. Because it seems to me there's a lot that the Caribbean could learn from you guys. And I sort of want to have even a longer conversation with you outside of this interview on that. How has it been in terms of teachers being able to use online teaching? Were they previously trained to do this, or have you had to do rapid teaching of teachers to be able to run school in this way? How is that happening?
Okay, so at first we had some difficulties. Okay, so we have here in Mauritius, like every part of the island, of the country, of the world as well. So we have the private schools, we have the government schools. So those in the private schools, they already have in their curriculum some online session with their students, which means those private schools doesn't have any difficulty to continue their curriculum even during the lockdown. So compared to the government, which they were still in process of introducing those online platform. So they've been doing online videos, session for each curriculum, for each chapters, for each subject. Okay, and then we just have to go on the link and look and just watch the videos. So then after a week, we've seen the difficulties. Parents couldn't, some parents, like for myself, I have 2 kids at home. So you have 2 kids of 2 different levels, 2 different ages. So how do you need to plan that your kids need to watch one for his level, the second one would be watching the same for her different level, but at the same time? You see, so that's why the government had to choose options like using the Teams, Microsoft Teams. Some teachers were giving the opportunity to use Zoom for the classes.
Wow.
And then we still have it on TV. So we have special channels for different groups of age of students. So you see, so you have, let's say we start from the first secondary, which is grade 7. It's called grade 7 here. So grade 7 would have a time slot, let's say as 11 to 1 p.m. And then you'll have the grade 8 will start as 1:30 to 4, let's say. And then the second day, so they have a time schedule, like a timetable, the one that you use for your school, the same thing, but it's going to be on TV. And we have our digital broadcast as well. So whatever you're watching on the TV, you can download it on your mobile app. You can watch it on your mobile as well. Okay. And then you have teachers using WhatsApp. So what are teachers doing? Yeah. So if, let's say, you have the students, the secondary students, let's say for the higher classes, let's say it starts like grade 11 and 12, where you have very minimum students in the class, let's say for a subject of IT or a subject of science, physics, biology, or something like that. So what they will do, you have a small group of WhatsApp. They share all the notes on WhatsApp. They will ask the students to just jot down the notes on their copybooks. And then you have the WhatsApp call, and then the teacher will just go briefly on the notes. If you have any question, you just ask it. So this is what we've been doing for the past 3-4 years.
I am amazed. I am in awe, and I feel absolutely excited just listening to you, because, you know, in terms of the Caribbean region, I've been talking to some of my friends from some of the poorer countries or people who are from the rural areas, and, you know, it's much more of a scramble to figure out how to respond if you're from a poor area and the students don't have a smartphone, and, you know, it's so just hearing this pivot and hear how Mauritius has handled it, been very inspirational in terms of figuring out how we can learn and cross-fertilize as small island development states. Now, as you think about the future, right? Because this is about the future. Whether it's healthcare, access to healthcare, access to jobs, as you say, as an island, or entrepreneurship, what are some of the emerging and future technologies that you think we should be thinking about as islands in particular going forward to make sure we have a sustainable future?
Exactly. So like we said, technology, for me, technology has the power to do many things, and changing the world is one of them. So everybody is talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Everybody's talking about AR, augmented reality. We have also the voice technology. So if we go into the perspectives of, let's say, an island, we can use technology, let's say, for the high-rise farms, the farms that we can use, develop software for them. We can use also, so in the island, we are very exposed to the sun. So we need to work like, you know, the solar panel technology. So this one would be very good, because I've been working, I know for 2 years now, I've been on a panel of jurors for projects in different countries in Africa. So you see many people develop technology, develop even in the poorest villages where they don't have electricity. So they just work with the solar panels. And this is another technology that should be around anytime. So you see, if you have those solar panels on the roof of each houses, that would help the people to get the electricity. With the electricity, it will come with a television. At least they can see the programs on the television. And with electricity, you can have internet access. You can have the electricity to charge your mobile afterwards. So I think for the best that would go, I mean, to adapt to the island would be the solar panel technology.
Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned AR and VR.
Yeah.
AI and VR. AI and AR and VR.
AI and AR.
Right? Now, Mauritius, how much of your economy was usually tourism? How much of it was tourism?
I didn't get you. Can you just ask?
Yes, sorry. How much of your economy was focused on the tourism as a main foreign exchange earner?
So, you mean using the IT, using the technology?
No, in general.
In general, okay.
But because I'm trying to figure out, my question has to do with, you know, we are moving into a post-COVID world, and there's a lot of concern about where the jobs are going to come from. Certainly from the Caribbean perspective, we live and die by tourism. So there's a lot of fear and worry in the Caribbean as how are we going to cope, right?
Yeah.
In Mauritius, what is your main income earner, your main foreign exchange earner that allows you to buy goods from the outside, like phones and services like this? Yeah.
So here in Mauritius, I think it's more about tourism, the first one, okay, and then you have the local, the SMEs actually, the SMEs, which are the entrepreneurs, which we have local products, which are exposed to the foreign market, and we have some local services okay, so which are exposed to the foreign market as well. So you asked an important question earlier about how we're going to cope with the tourism, the post-COVID, you see.
Right.
So yeah, so I was just reading an article early this morning. So with the government saying we need to promote our local people to stay in the hotel. So we need to promote our local citizen, our local artisans to be there in the hotel.
So let me ask you a question, because this is something that's really very important, I think, right now. We're talking about ICT as a fundamental human right. Your government has surely made sure that that's the case, right? You have a good, you on a good slope for growth in that sense. Now comes COVID, and we now have to pivot. How are we going to earn the foreign exchange to pay for the things we've been paying for? How are you thinking, even if it's not a clear idea, what sort of ideas you have in terms of how Mauritius can use its access to internet, its sophisticated way of thinking, to perhaps create new products using ICT? I mean, people are now shopping online. How do you see this pivot away from tourism? Until tourism picks back up, it might take another year or two to pick back up. How are you seeing Mauritius using its ability and capacity with ICT to sort of provide work, even, for example, in food security? You know, how do you see more ICT going towards agriculture or making more products? You know, I think you even have a space society in Mauritius. How are you bringing all of that together to sort of make sure the country keeps on being, you know, whole and sustainable?
So, you know, like all, we've been reading about the management gurus, everything. So I think they've said we need to go digital. So I think the digitalization of all our enterprise would be the best now to go. And you mentioned about tourism again. So tourism, we can help, you know, having some more small videos of what we have here, how we can help others. That would be one. And then you talk about agriculture. So agriculture is very important, you know, to go, we can just have experts to work on mobile application for those people in agriculture. So what would be the mobile apps be doing is that, let's say you have a plant, vegetables, you need to know which seasons the vegetables need to grow. How are you going to get the vegetables? And if the vegetables is having a disease, so that mobile app can, you just by snapping a picture of the vegetables, so you can have experts telling you that, okay, this is the disease that your vegetable have, this is how you need to go and find the exact product, you know, to get rid of that disease. So I think mobile application that would help in terms of digitalization for the enterprise. And then to get people know our local products, so we can have a platform, you know, like an online platform, not like those from that you say the Alibaba one, but we have someone for us here, and a platform where you have all the entrepreneurs, even the hotels, the tourism, the agriculture, all the sectors, the manufacturing sectors, to have the products on that platform. And then we can export those products. You know, you can sell the products to the foreign countries as well. So let's say we are going to, we won't be having tourists coming in.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say for me, apart from my IT, I have my second company, which is a beach and sportswear. So I can present my product to the hotels. The hotels would put that in their online platform to sell to the tourists, and the same products can be bought, foreigners like you can buy this from the hotels. So this is a chain that we need to do in terms of, you know, we need to know how to use the digitalization, how to use the digital market. And at the same time, we as entrepreneurs will gain, the hotel will gain, and the economy also will grow.
Yeah, what about in the healthcare sector? How do you see that?
Okay, the healthcare sector, this also I can tell you. So I have my sister who is a pharmacist, so that's why I can easily tell you. So she's having her training as well. She has her training online. She has her training with her doctors as well. So let's say she has a new product for an eye product, okay? So she needs to get that product introduced to the island, introduced to all the doctors. So what happened is that she will have a training from doctors abroad. She will sit for the training. She will have her training with the doctors how to use that product, and this all can be done online.
Right. At present, do you have a lot of people, a lot of doctors seeing patients now online? What's the current situation? So that's how. Okay.
So we have a group on we have a group on WhatsApp. We have a group on Facebook. We have a group on LinkedIn as well. So on Facebook, it's more common. So where you have more people have more access into that. So you have a group of doctors, let's say from the gynecology, from the for the skin doctor, the dentist, you have everything. So anything that what they do is that they will just take a picture of that people that is let's say for the skin. The doctor will ask for a picture, and then the doctor will call that patient. We'll have a WhatsApp call, okay? And then from there, okay, the doctor will say, okay, let's say you need to take your temperature. The doctor will advise the patient how to take the temperature, okay? And he will ask, okay, you show me the thermometer, and then from there I can go. You see, so you have like a consultation, online consultation. Wow. And then in this COVID as well, we do have mobile doctors. So we have doctors will go from each houses if they have anything urgent. So we have doctors that would go to each houses here.
Wow, it's it's very interesting to hear that perspective. One question which I hadn't, as Mauritius is in the African, let's say, sphere of countries, are you in a relationship, say, as a woman in tech Africa from an island, a relationship with other women in tech from other African islands like Cape Verde or Seychelles or Comoros? How is the professional development across the islands that are part of the African continent?
Okay, so if we say part of the African countries, so apart from Mauritius, we have another island which belongs to Mauritius. It's called Rodrigues Island. It's Rodriges, so it's Rodrigues Island. So since I am the one who is representing the Women in Tech Africa here, I'm the chapter lead. So in my planning, so I was thinking to go and introduce those technology, the Women in Tech, in different islands. So we don't have it yet, actually. We do have technology present, but we don't have people or women associations, to go there, give them training. So we don't have it yet. So last year I've been introducing to the Rodrigues Island. So now we are 2 islands. And then beginning of this year, I've already touched base with another island, which is called Réunion Island. So we are 3 islands. So we just keep contact like this. So we are trying. So actually this year, I was planning to be in Seychelles, to be in Réunion, to introduce the Women in Tech. So because of the COVID, we couldn't do so. But still, we are trying to have our online session. So let's say for this week, on Thursday, the 23rd, would be the International ICT Global Day. So how am I going to celebrate that? So I'm going to have a Zoom session with someone in Seychelles to introduce that. And then I'm going to have several videos from women in ICT here in Mauritius to just give a small message for that ICT Day. And then this would be shared online with all the rest of the world and even to the different islands that we have here. So I've been able to get contacts from the government, contacts to be able to get at least 1 or 2 women, 2 organizations from each of the islands. So I'm in contact with them. We are working on that, but hopefully by next year, most of the island, the regional island, even the African part, would be able to be in those countries, in those islands, in terms of technology.
Yeah, as we draw to a close and we think about the 2030 goals and the roles that ICT will have to play in everything, especially post-COVID, we have to have a strengthened role for education to achieve our successes in healthcare, especially energy access, everything. How are you seeing, how are you feeling? Do you feel optimistic, certainly from a small island development state perspective, or are you neutral? How are you seeing our ability to really use ICT to drive things?
For me, optimistic actually.
Ah.
You know, I'm very optimistic because, like I said earlier, so technology is here. We just need to know how to use it. And like most technologies, for me, it's overall the benefit is very positive.
Mm-hmm.
And it just people need to know how to adapt to them.
Yeah. So if you had to do a headline about 2030 with the vision you have, with the plans you have, what is the headline you believe you would like to see in 2030 about women in tech Africa?
Okay, so when you sent me some a list of questions, so that one was the bit tough to think about because there's not only one headline. There's
Okay,
several
give me two.
that come to my mind.
But give me
There's
two.
So the first one would be powerful problems drive powerful dreams.
Powerful problems
Drive
drive
powerful
powerful
dreams.
dreams. What does that mean?
But you see, if for me, everybody is saying that technology is difficult to use. You'll be having a cybersecurity problem, you'll be having data breach problem, etc. But it's actually, if you have the solution, then it's come a beautiful dream for your organization. You don't see how important the tool would be to have your organization grow. So
Yeah.
it can be a problem. It can be a problem at start, but it's a dream that comes true.
Oh, an opportunity. It's can be an opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
for me, I'm very passionate, so I prefer to use dreams instead of opportunities. You see?
But actually, it's interesting because some people would say a dream is something you don't intend to go after. You know.
Yeah.
So
But
the
yeah,
fact
I'm saying it. I'm saying it's a perspective and of an entrepreneurs actually. See, so I've
ah,
been
got
working
you.
with a lot of entrepreneurs. So you as a I mean, for me especially, as a woman. So I would like to see other women in their enterprise. Let's especially for the IT, to see them grow, to see them come with innovative ideas.
Got
So
you.
that for me, this is a dream for them.
Okay. Ah, now I get it. Okay. What's the second headline?
What's the?
You said you had two. So what's
I
the
have to.
what's the second
So the
headline?
next one would be empowering with mobile technology.
Okay. But by that time, in 10 years, let's think about it. With all that's
Okay.
happening now, if you really jump ahead 10 years, I'm going to challenge you to think about a headline that has to do with healthcare provision. You
Mm-hmm.
talked about AR, you talked about AI, and we talked about VR. Give me a headline that a woman has solved a problem with ICT using AR and VR in healthcare. Now let's see what you come up with.
Okay, so then that would be, I don't know if you can use that as a headline. So we
Well, a
just say,
story, a story.
so we use technology to make policies based on evidence.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that could be a headline. So
Okay, so give me what the story is behind that. What's the evidence and the policy?
the story behind that is just like, you've just mentioned that, let's say 10 years later, so we're talking about healthcare, everything. So
Yeah.
we are facing so many problems right now. So we need to find policies. We need to find solutions. So we need to use the technology based on those evidence that we have now to make better policies so that we don't face it ahead.
Okay, so you're saying that we're going to use ICT
Yeah.
data from now, right?
Yeah.
In 10 years, because we're doing things now a certain way, we're going to have data now to create the evidence so that in 10 years, we're going to be making better policies because the ICT data in terms of what's happening now with healthcare, what's happening now with education use, will be collected in such a way as that we can actually be more efficient and effective in managing our
Effective.
island.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
I got it.
Why? Because you see, this pandemic, we haven't faced it. None of us have faced it. So this is where the period that we're learning that we need to do. So whether it's going to be in the healthcare, the agriculture, the education, the tourism. So we need to make use of those technology tools that we have now to make those policies. And this is, if I make a round of what the subject is all about here, about the gender equalities. So that would be a good one, a good period now to work on those policies, you see, so that we don't face it, so that we can grow as at least in the future.
I think that's a very good place to bring it to an end. I'm so excited about that idea because, I mean, yes, you're right. We've never faced this before. And so now is the time to start collecting data. So we're better prepared for the next big global.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samira Chattun Koyratty, for joining me today.
Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, so let me say, friends, as we've come to the end of another delightful conversation. I've been speaking with Samira Chattun Koyratty, who is CEO of Safe Shot Training Center, Beachwear and Sportswear Limited. She has 2 companies, like any good island woman. She's make sure, Jamaicans always have more than one job. She certainly could get Jamaican in that regard. And more important, she's also chapter lead for Women in Tech Africa for Mauritius, and has been a judge around many parts of Africa looking at women in technology. With that, I want to say thank you for joining us on Future Sense Now. That's it, folks. We want to remind you that we are part of a shared future, and our shared future is embedded in the landscape of today. So go out and create the future we want. And until next time, as we say in Jamaica, walk good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice time. Keep safe.
Thank you for listening to Future Sense Now with Dr. Claire Nelson. Future Sense Now is produced by the Futures Forum in Washington, D.C. For more information, visit www.thefuturesforum.org. Remember, our futures are embedded in the landscape of our present stories. Seize the day, share this story, and share the future.